and welcome to the Book Doctor's YouTube channel. In order to successfully publish a book, first you're going to have to
write. Hard to believe, right?
I know, right?
Every day, tend to your book in a little way, even if it's, what's the famous quote by
Oscar Wilde. In the morning,
Wilde.
I labored all morning editing my book, and I put in a comma. In the afternoon, I labored and took the comma out. Carve out chunks of time and let the people around you who love you mostly, that listen, daddy's time, mommy's time, and yourself.
Yeah.
Is this time, from this time to this time. And as soon as this is done, I say to my daughter, I'll help you do whatever you need, but this is the time when I am going to be in my situation.
So to get a break.
Get outside, do something else besides that. Once you put your hours in, that's what I did first. When you sit down, don't start answering emails and wasting any of your brain doing anything besides sitting down at that story.
There was one thing that connected all successful writers, no matter what they were writing, and that was their passion for the subject.
You could feel the passion. And it's what drives people. It's contagious.
If you had to give one piece of advice to authors out there who have not yet gotten successfully published, what would it be?
I have a tattoo on my arm from our good friend Pablo Picasso that simply says the chief enemy of creativity is good taste. And the reason that really resonates with me is I feel like writers do themselves a huge disservice when they chase the nuances of an era. It's up to us to write the book that only we can write and really celebrate the power of their particular imagination.
Love it. That's perfect.
Yeah, a lot of times people come to us and say, I feel like, pirates are really hot right now, so I don't really care that much about pirates, but I'm going to write a pirate book because it's hot right now. And then I'll get a big deal, and then Johnny Depp will be in my movie from my book. Well, but it takes so long to write a book, and there's so much rejection. And if it's not something that you absolutely love and you're passionate about, when things get hard and dicey, why continue if it seems like...
Also, whatever is a trend right now, by the time you get your book out, you're going to have to wait for the entire news cycle, which could be 10 years later where that thing is hot again. So if you don't have passion for it, it's not going to happen.
And that passion should be displayed right from the get-go.
Right.
Just keep writing.
Write editorials.
Right.
Write in your journal.
Write lists.
Write
love
lists. Exactly.
Top 10 lists.
The first 5 pages.
Perhaps the most important part of your manuscript. Most people don't realize this, but editors, agents, and readers are inundated and overwhelmed with stuff.
Yeah.
Having lived with an agent for, about 100 years, I've realized that, there's 20 queries coming in today, and there's 20 queries that came in yesterday, and 20 queries coming in tomorrow.
And stacks of manuscripts. So, in fact, David and I, whenever we go to a book trade show and there are free books, we do this thing called the first sentence test. All we do is read the first sentence, and that tells us whether we're going to take the book or not. So first 5 pages, as critical as that is, we actually need to start with the first sentence. How great is your first sentence? Your first paragraph, your first page, and finally those first 5 pages.
Agents and editors are trained to look for a no. Yeah. How do I say no to this manuscript so I can get it out of my inbox and go on to the next one? Purging the inbox.
A boring first sentence, a cliche in the first paragraph.
Spelling mistakes, grammatical mistakes.
For those of you writing novelists, nothing really happening on the first page, maybe all backstory. For those of you writing nonfiction, not really getting to the point, what's the book about? These are the kinds of things that get people to stop reading. And if they get to 5 pages and they're not engaged, they're not going to read anymore.
Pet peeve that anyone in the children's book publishing world has, and that is that so many people who want to write children's books want to teach us a lesson rather than tell us a story.
Right.
And when you're not writing, fantasize about what the next scene is.
If you have a commute, for example, where you're driving, you can't be writing, but you can be thinking.
Instead of being consumed by road rage or thinking about why the universe despises you, which is generally what I'm doing when I'm driving, train your mind when you start to go down that whatever rabbit hole you like to go down. Shift it. So, oh yeah, what was my next scene? It's a guy and his wife, and they're making breakfast. You smell what the smells are, see what the sights are. What's the first line? So when I sit down to write, I got a whole scene in my head, and I got a first line, and I got some conflict.
What are you willing to sacrifice? Maybe a book, maybe it's not worth it.
Right.
That's an important thing to figure out before
Maybe
you start the
article.
process.
Start with an article.
Yeah.
There's so many places to get cool articles published these days.
Absolutely.
We just had a master class here, and we said to one of our students, writers, said, why don't you write a little article about this, a personal essay. He did. He got it up on Being.
Yep.
Boom. All of a sudden, he's in the game. And it took,
or maybe you just
a weekend.
Want a journal, or write for yourself, or write for a writer's group. Maybe all the effort that goes into getting a book published isn't something that you want to do. So we put this out there because a lot of people end up feeling like they wasted a whole lot of time and energy. And we don't want you to do that.
No, we don't.
We want you to feel engaged and passionate about this process, no matter what the outcome, because none of us know what the outcome is going to be.
Nope.
You never know what piece of your writing is going to be the thing to launch your writing career.
Yeah.
So we have a good friend, Tamim
Ansari,
who is from Afghanistan, and he had written a memoir prior to 9/11 about growing up in Afghanistan.
And nobody even knew in America basically where that was. They thought
Couldn't
it was a dog.
even point
Is that
to it
about
on
you
a
and
map.
Your dog growing up?
No one was interested. 9/11 happened.
But he kept writing.
Kept writing. 9/11 happened. He sent out an email to a dozen friends about the situation there, and that email went around the world.
I got it 5 times in 24 hours.
I think over 1 million people saw the email, including producers at Oprah, NPR,
everywhere. Everybody wanted him.
And suddenly he had publishers vying for his book.
And his agent says, can you jot something down on a napkin? I can get you a book deal.
Said, I don't have to jot it down on a napkin because I've been writing it all these years.
This memoir for years.
So your breakout book, who knows? You don't know, and the only way you can do it is to keep writing about the things that you're passionate about.
But we have so many of our clients who don't put themselves out there because they're afraid.
Yep.
And in fact, it's a big impediment to many people's dreams of becoming a professional author. So we wanted to address this and maybe give you some ways of dealing with your fear. Many people that we work with have had great careers in other things, and they've overcome great odds to become the person they are. So as you face this fear, think back on the things that you have accomplished, on the things that you have risen above, things that obstacles that you have surmounted in order to succeed at whatever you've succeeded at. Try to imagine those same skills brought into the world of publishing.
And also the trials that you had to go through in order to become skilled. None of us go into a job and just know how to do it from the first day we enter the field. You learn, you become better, you have more learning, you then start, maybe you have a mentor. There's a whole process involved, and somehow people think just because they know how to write a sentence on a page that somehow means they know how to publish a book.
Yes, to write a book and to get it published. And writing a book, of course, is a very different skill than getting it published.
Exactly.
It's so fun, like to revel in the great rejections that you get. Use your sense of humor and develop your sense of comedy around your rejections. That's going to help immensely.
So we want you to face your fears.
Yes.
There's, as David said, these are real. You know, there are certain fears that writers have that aren't real, that have to do with lack of self-confidence. Right. You need to face those as well, because if you face them, you can overcome them or use them to fuel the process of getting published.
Absolutely.
Here's one last piece of advice from someone who suffers from writer's block, or whatever you want to call it. Don't clean the house.
Oh.
It's fine. It doesn't need to be cleaned. All right, everybody.
That may be the best hack of them all.
Might be the best hack of them all.
See you at the bookstore.
See you at the bookstore. If you have burning questions or suggestions,
things you want to talk about, things you don't understand about your book, about the publishing business, just write in the comments below or go to our website at
www.thebookdoctors.com.
thebookdoctors.com.
And also, if you'd like to get weekly videos from us on all different subjects across the spectrum of publishing, please subscribe.
Subscribe, yes. And as our 10-year-old daughter likes to say,
Like and
and share.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right.
Just keep writing.